Only a man's motives and mission make him great. Welcome to another episode of Self-Employed Success Secrets Weekend Edition with me, your host Marcus. On today's episode, we're going to talk about 3 questions that you should ask yourself to make your life better, okay? Why should you ask yourself these 3 questions before I get into it? It's because they are a forerunner for being successfully self-employed and be able to sustain when things get hard. And I'll get into that as I go into the video, but the first question that you should ask to be successfully self-employed, and it's good to ask yourself these things all the time, is the first thing is, what shall I do? What is your purpose? Okay? Alright, you woke up today for a reason, okay, a purpose. God woke you up today to accomplish something, okay? And if you don't know your purpose and you're watching this, you could be thinking to yourself, okay, what's my purpose? Let me ask you this question. What makes your heart sing? What makes your heart sing? Okay, some people it's playing basketball, some people it's fishing, some people it's reading and teaching little kids things, okay? What makes your heart sing? It's very important. It's the first question to ask yourself is, what shall I do? Okay? The next question we should ask ourselves is why shall I do it? Okay? It's not so much about what are you willing to do, it's more so about why are you willing to do it, because when you do that, it helps you to sustain, okay? There's going to be times when it gets hard, and you got to have that motivation to keep going when you have to wake up early and work a long time. Asking yourself, why shall I do it, will give you the push you need to keep going. Remember, this is a forerunner to being successfully self-employed. A lot of people, they start on the wrong foundation. And I talked about this in my needs feed video. You can see that on my channel. But if you start off on the wrong foundation, if you build a house on straw, when hard times come, your house is going to come down, okay? And the last question you should ask is, how shall I do it, okay? So you want to ask, what shall I do, why shall I do it, and how shall I do it, okay? It's just, those 3 things are going to help you to stand out. Remember, every business has to stand out. So there's a lot of people who do what you do. Let's say you're a dentist. There's a lot of folks who do dentistry, but not everybody does it in the way that you may do it. That's how you separate yourself. And, one thing I've learned is that you kind of carve your way through life. Like, if you look at the definition of carve, it means to cut through something hard to create something aesthetically pleasing, okay? A lot of us we started with hard circumstances. Started out poor, no family, adopted, whatever. You come from a different country, be an immigrant. I mean, there's so many people who are born into just areas of adversity, and sometimes that's not so bad, okay? But all of us have a carving stick, and we can carve out what we want. You're like sculptors or painters, so to say. We paint the reality that we live in, and so I just want to encourage you with these 3 thoughts. Okay, as Nick Saban said, the national championship winning coach of the University of Alabama, they were in the national championship again this year, but they lost, and that's all right. You're going to lose some in life. He said we all got 5 choices in life, okay? You can be below average, average, good, great, or elite, okay? All of us, when we're at work, we fall into one of those buckets. I just want to ask you, which bucket are you currently in? Do you want to get there? And because I'll say another thing on how you do it, asking yourself, how shall I do it? This is, when I talk about carving things, this is how classes are created, okay? For example, there's different classes of like automobiles, okay? All these car companies, they make cars, but some cars focus on really making them amazing, like Ferrari or Maseratis, and some are just really, really great, like a BMW or a Lexus or like a luxury car. And then some cars aren't that great, okay? These classes, they're all doing the same thing, but they're all doing it in a different way, okay? The better you do something, the more you're going to be able to move up and do what you want to do and kind of write your own ticket in life. I'm seeing that. I've gotten raises recently with some of the clients I work with, and it's all because I carved my own space out. The same way you can too. I just want to motivate you today to carve your own space. I understand that, you determine, what's going to play out. And also too, I'm doing something new. Stay tuned for the end of this video. I'm going to have a surprise for you. Surprise is long, but it's worth it. But I just want you to think, to wrap up, think about these 3 questions to have a more successfully self-employed life, or if you want to be self-employed, or if you're working towards that, ask yourself, what shall I do? Have a purpose. Have something that drives you. Okay, remember, everything should start with your purpose. What are you doing? Ask yourself, why shall I do it? What is the motive behind what you're doing, okay? Because the motive is going to determine if you're going to give life to something. And And last is, how shall you do it? It's good to ask yourself probably maybe once a month these questions, or even once a day. Always kind of ask yourself in some way, shape, or form, what am I doing, how am I doing it, and why am I doing it, to give you that motivation to keep going. And I appreciate if you've watched this far. I'm going to bring up the surprise. It's very long, but it's worth it. Oh, it almost blew away. Sorry about that. Every episode I have a surprise. And I'm going to go ahead and read to you. The thing blows away. So today's surprise, let me open it up. Today's surprise is, are you doing what you want to do? Are you doing with your life, bear with me, it's kind of long, but it's worth it. Are you doing with your life just what you want to do with it? Are you doing the work you must love to do? And I did not come up with this. If you could be what you want to be, what kind of man or woman would you be? If you are doing what you want to do and you want to be, why aren't you? Or wait, if you aren't doing what you want to do and if you want to be, why aren't you? Put the reasons down on paper and see if they don't look foolish to you. In the majority of instances, a man can do what he pleases with himself. Things that get in your path are not obstacles unless you choose to regard them as obstacles. One of the great truths is that there's always a way through, over, under, or around any obstacle. You can get what you desire, and in just the measure of that desire. Lastly, as always, unsuccessful people, they make decisions based on their current situations. I'm just going to keep going the way I've always gone because that's what I've always done. But successful people, you hopefully make decisions based on where you want to be. Ask yourself these three questions. What shall I do? Why shall I do it? And how shall I do it? And okay, so be successful, make decisions based on where you want to be. Ask yourself those questions. Hope this was helpful and enjoy your Saturday. Thanks. Bye.